California Wildlife Center is a nonprofit that provides veterinary care for more than 4,300 sick, injured, and orphaned native wild animals a year. Once recovered, the animals are returned to the wild. We treat more than 160 species, from hummingbirds to elephant seals. We have a full-time staff, veterinarian, and state-of-the-art medical facilities. Here at CWC, our marine mammal team rescues orphaned elephant seals and sea lions from the Malibu coast. These animals strand on the beach and are brought in technically as they are failing to thrive. They have been born out on the Channel Islands and either haven't found enough food to eat or haven't acquired the skills needed to find food on their own. The lack of food in the ocean may be attributed to the warming seas. Many of the fatty fish that the animals need to survive swim in cooler water, and as they go deeper into the ocean, the young sea lions cannot follow them. Their lungs are not developed enough to swim into deeper waters at their young age. Another issue is toxic runoff from sewers and streets. The pollution kills much of the ecosystem needed for appropriate food to grow. When a member of the public sees one of these young animals on the beach, CWC will take the animal back to our center to provide them enough nutrition and some of the skills necessary to thrive back in the Pacific.
Hi, I'm Heather Henderson, the Marine Mammal Program Manager here at California Wildlife Center.
What is a typical day like?
Well, a typical day in the Marine Mammal Department starts with coming in and doing a quick observation to make sure our patients don't need any immediate care. Then we will clean the enclosure prior to each feed. They're fed 3 times a day. So we'll clean really well in the morning, we'll feed them breakfast. While we're doing that, if our veterinarian needs to do any follow-up checks, she will perform them at that time so we can consolidate the amount of time that we handle them. We will repeat cleaning and feeding again at noon, again at 4 p.m. And then we will put them inside or in an appropriate heated spot for the end of the day. Now, rescues are less predictable, so the rescue calls are addressed as quickly as possible in between our feeds and the care of our patients.
Why is it important to rehabilitate marine mammals?
One of the top reasons is that we can mitigate some of the impacts that they suffer and they experience from human activity. Another really important reason for rehabilitating marine mammals is that they are sentinels of the ocean, and quite often we can see things that are going wrong with our ocean environment in our patients, and that can be helpful for the humans as well.
Under whose authority do you operate?
We are permitted through NOAA, or the National Oceanic and Administration. Who allows us to do the work that we do? We are granted a permit through the government, specifically through NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And we are permitted to go out and assess, pick up, care for, and release stranded marine mammals.
What is a U.M.E?
What is a U.M.E? Well, U.M.E is an unusual mortality event. And an unusual mortality event is given to animals when they are experiencing exceptionally high numbers for their age, their species, and for the event. Meaning, something like an oil spill, it's easy to understand why animals show up. But when you have an unusual mortality event, you have these great number of animals and no easy cause of that challenge.
How do you tell the difference between a northern elephant seal and a California sea lion?
How can you tell the difference between a northern elephant seal and a California sea lion? Well, elephant seals are phocids, or true seals. They have some unique characteristics. They don't have external ear flaps. They are rear-powered swimmers, so they kind of undulate across the sand. Have shorter front flippers. And so they often look like they're in trouble on land, but it's just that they're much more graceful in the water. California sea lions, on the other hand, are amazing climbers. They are front-powered, and they can walk just like a dog on all fours. They're very quick on land. They have much more slender faces, similar to a dog, and they also have external ears just like you and I.
What do you feed them?
Okay, so what is the progression for our patients with feeding? So they all come in malnourished and dehydrated. So they all are started with tube feeding of electrolytes, clear fluids. Then we move into more of a gruel type of product, which is a ground up fish with vitamins. For California sea lions, we will then offer a fish to them, and they very quickly are able to pick it up, manipulate it, and swallow it on their own. So that progression happens very quickly. For northern elephant seals, they're not as dexterous on land, and thereby there are 5 stages we go through. And from tube feeding them, we then assist with putting fish into their mouth and helping them swallow. Then we just stabilize their head. Then we work with them in a smaller, shallow pool, and finally they're able to free feed in the deep pool on their own, manipulating the fish.
What challenges do California sea lions and northern elephant seals face?
Okay, so what challenges do California sea lions face requiring our assistance? They have a number of challenges. I mean, they can have bacterial infections, they can have viral infections, there can be fisheries impact, and can be live fisheries with hooks and lines. This can be derelict fishing gear, just trash in essence that goes into the ocean. The other thing that California sea lions face a great deal every spring are domoic acid blooms or neurotoxins. All of these issues are things that, if addressed, we can help them, give them a second chance at thriving. Northern elephant seals, on the other hand, tend to have more challenges just faced with their natural life cycle. They are put out and they have to do everything by instinct. So a young elephant seal may not pick up all the tasks and the skills it needs before it loses too much of its body mass. And in that case, we can help it along and again, give it a second chance at thriving.
How can you tell if a marine mammal needs assistance?
Well, while seals and sea lions do haul out regularly to rest and sun themselves, if they choose to haul out around many humans, that generally is an indication they don't feel well. Also, if you see any obvious injuries, or if you can see their hips, their vertebrae, or their rib cage, they're not thriving and could use assistance.
What if you see a marine mammal in distress?
Well, the first thing to do is give it space. We don't want to stress the animal out, and a stressed out animal will feel threatened, and that could be dangerous for you. So after backing up, call your local stranding agency. Here in Malibu, that's us, California Wildlife Center. Take a picture of the animal and ask people to stay away. We'll come out and assess and figure out if the animal needs care.
What's the difference between tagging and marking an animal?
Okay, so when do we tag one of our patients, and when would we just add a marking? When we go out to the beach, we may find an animal who we want to keep an eye on, but we don't want to pick up and remove from their environment just yet. So we will use a grease marker and to color them so that when we see that animal again, we have a point of comparison to see, do they need to come in for care. If you have been picked up as a patient, we put a flipper tag, which has a unique 5-digit number on all of our former patients. And this allows anyone to report if they see the animal. We can track how long it's living, how well it's doing, and of course where it's gone.
What prepared you for this work?
My education was in biology, and specifically marine biology was my focus. I started out in the rehabilitation field as a volunteer during a crisis and immediately fell in love with the entire field. So took every opportunity to enhance my education and my experiences to add on to my schooling.
Support California Wildlife Center's treatment of sick, injured, and orphaned wildlife. Make a tax-deductible donation today at cawildlife.org.